Don't set yourself on fire to keep the house warm. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about a topic that a lot of us can relate to. People pleasing. Over time, I learned about how this affects our well-being and how prioritizing others at the expense of ourselves isn't sustainable. In this video, I'll share what it is, what I've learned along the ways, and some tips that I have for you guys. And if you're listening to this and you relate to some of this, I want you to know that I see you and you're not alone. I create these videos out of a desire to share insights in what I've been through and the lessons I've learned to either help people avoid making those same mistakes, or if they do make those mistakes, how to turn them into lessons so you can do things differently in the future. Sometimes people choose to view things through their own lenses of whatever they're going through or whatever judgments they already have. But this is my only intention to help you guys. For starters, let's go over exactly what a people pleaser is, as sometimes it's misunderstood. People pleaser is an individual who prioritizes the needs and desires of others over their own, often at the expense of their own well-being and boundaries. They are motivated by a desire to be liked, accepted, and avoid conflict, and may struggle with saying no or asserting their own needs. People pleaser is not someone that just wants to make others happy. It's usually people that are bending over backwards for others at the expense of their own needs, leading to a lot of burnout, them feeling drained, and even possibly starting to resent the situation they're in, or even the person. So here are some signs you're a people pleaser. So you say yes too often, which I found myself doing a lot. Apologize unnecessarily. You take on the emotions of others so you really feel them. You keep quiet to avoid conflict. You struggle to set boundaries. You avoid asking for help. This is a big one, avoiding asking for help. This is something that I still have this tendency of doing. When it comes to people wanting to help me, I'm like, it's okay, listen, I don't want to burden you. I don't want to feel too vulnerable in front of you. Like if it's someone I don't know too well, or if it's not my partner or family members, but even sometimes I avoid saying stuff to family members too because I don't want to worry them. That's one thing. You feel guilty for self-care and stepping back. That's another thing. Constantly seek validation. We do want to be validated by people we respect and love, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think there's this notion that people that, sometimes put themselves online are just always asking for validation. It depends what they're doing. It really depends. You're drained from helping, this one. You can't make decisions alone. You struggle to accept praise. That one. You feel uneasy if people are upset, that as well. So this is how it was affecting me. I came to realize after I was feeling so drained, I swung the opposite direction and I started to withdraw and isolate myself. Something I still find myself doing, but for different reasons. I became overwhelmed by others and their desire to connect despite me wanting to help out. I often felt powerless, not realizing that just a compassionate ear sometimes helps the situation. But for me, I just wanted to do more. I wanted to help the situation out even more, that when I felt helpless, I felt like maybe there's no point in even me being here at all. Even when others extended their support, so it wasn't necessarily one-sided, it was hard to accept it, and I found myself filtering what exactly I told them, not wanting to share the full story or be that vulnerable, because it was just hard for me, and it's just something that, quite frankly, I wasn't used to. Especially if the struggles were still ongoing, not just things that happened years ago. That's when I just felt too vulnerable. They know too much about me. What if they use it against me? And I just didn't want to say anything. And still to this day, I'd rather just keep things in than just share it, even when there is listening ears. So that's not necessarily others' fault. It could be a matter of me, or it could be a matter of sometimes the people, they don't give us the feeling that they can be trusted with things, or that maybe they won't judge us. It really depends, but a lot of the times it could be within ourselves. It might sound ironic or contradictory, or that I'm practicing against what I preach, because we're seeing lately on the internet how people are getting called out for being hypocritical and landing themselves in situations that they actually preach against, or that they almost like they're not listening to their own advice. And I understand that I make videos saying not everyone is the same, and be authentic and vulnerable, and that I agree with. And you can do that in your own personal relationships with one person, your family members. It doesn't have to be with everybody. And even if it's somebody that I've known for a while, or someone that wants to listen to me, or even if it's on some anonymous forum online, I still don't feel fully comfortable. Pressure I placed on myself to do more ultimately led to exhaustion and burnout, highlighting the importance of understanding our own limits. I also grappled with feelings of extreme guilt from walking away from situations that were not even entirely all that bad, or situations that could have been redeemable. I realized that these decisions were made prioritizing my own well-being, and in doing so, I started thinking more of myself without guilt, which is what a lot of people just instinctively do. They just think of themselves and how their needs could be met without thinking of others. But with me, it was just hard. Like, I felt like thinking about how myself or how I was being affected was selfish, and that we have to constantly be given. Sometimes people fall in these traps, like especially if you're maybe more spiritual or you're a believer, you have to always just give, turn the other cheek. You also have to have boundaries and limits and not let people walk all over you. That's really, really, really important. Don't set yourself on fire to keep the house warm. It ultimately made me realize I was just better off not contacting or rarely reaching out to anybody, as I could not hold constant space for them without feeling burnt out. Someone's listening and they're like, you're just holding yourself back. Maybe there's someone that wants to help you and listen to you. But in my heart, I'm like, I'm not going to go to someone just when I have problems. Because first of all, I don't want to use other people. I'm very self-aware of how I come across to other people. And second of all, if they need help in return, I could help once in a while. But sometimes people make it like an ongoing habit to constantly like reach out or to constantly want to hang out with you or something. And it's like that, at that point, then you feel bad saying no. And then you realize you can't. And then you don't want to be a bad friend. And then it's just a cycle, like it's a loop, right? And you guys might be like, well, that's a high maintenance friendship. That's people that cannot respect boundaries. That's people that constantly expect you to be there. But that's probably what I've been used to for a lot of my life and why I got into this mindset. But also, it's okay to step back and you don't need to give explanations. Like maybe you just don't feel like it, because sometimes that happens. I felt like it was a big change from all these years. I felt weird withdrawing so much, but I realized that is what's best for me in the moment. I even spoke to E about how I was feeling guilty, and he said, you know, you don't owe people your time and energy. And he's actually here and he's going to give his thoughts in a minute, because I know he also struggled with this as well. I felt like I was giving away so much time and energy to others that it was finally time to use that towards myself. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't let people make you feel like you're selfish, you're cold, you changed, you're different, this person changed you. No. You know why people say that? Because they realize that they finally have lost control and grip over you in the situation, and they cannot use you anymore. So they're bothered by that because you finally set boundaries, and their boundaries are bothering you, even though you have a right to set them. So that's why they're gonna call you things and say that you're the one that's in the wrong. Remember, their judgments do not define you. Don't let their opinions have power over your peace. This is my part, and now E will briefly share his part.
I think people pleasers are like people who grew up in a not so nurturing environment, so they had to resort to like keeping the peace. Their empathy is their own worst enemy. They didn't really grow up in an environment where they could have honed to be empathetic while establishing boundaries. So that's why they grow up to be people pleasers.
Sometimes they put their value on how they can help others. So if they feel like if they can't help others, they feel like they're useless, or they feel like I'm not doing enough. Like I've done research about this, and you're right with what you're saying for sure. A lot of these things people can research and find out like psychological meanings and all this stuff, but I want to know personally how you've been affected in your perspective or what you've learned as well.
You don't want to put others' happiness over your own happiness. It's like a parent that wants its kid to be a doctor, but the kid doesn't want to be a doctor.
What about something that's more emotionally or socially driven?
I would say it's like basic. Let's just stop. You go back.
We can laugh too sometimes. We're not always serious and calling people out and scolding them and acting like we know everything.
Paranoid freaking freaks. Okay.
No, guys, this is actually a serious video. We just wanted some comedic relief, but yeah, continue, E.
Let's say at my job I have to get off at 5. I wouldn't stay overtime anymore.
Similar here with an old job I had, the management was unprofessional, so I would do my task, but I'd purposely start finishing it early so I could leave on time rather than stay extra, which was unpaid.
The type of tendency I have is to like overstep or overreach, sometimes even through my own expense. You're not a bad person because you know, tell them, hey, I can't do this.
So that's putting boundaries, exactly. That's like not being afraid to say no.
People won't get mad. They'll just be like, oh, okay.
Same with bosses, managers, like don't let them, walk all over you.
During my lifetime, right, I was most certainly a people pleaser. You just go along with things, because if you grow up in an environment where you're really validated with your feelings, whenever I would grow up, I would go along with things that I didn't really wanna go along with because I wanted to keep the peace. I didn't really want people to retaliate. That's another thing, like being afraid that people will, retaliate.
Thanks for bringing this up, because I mentioned this in one of my videos, wanting to keep the peace because you don't want people to start retaliating on you and you don't want to agitate and stir the pot. But of course, like we grew from that, and I know you're not like that anymore, and you just don't care what people think, and I admire that. I also don't as well, and I definitely grew a backbone and I put my foot down. So I wanted to ask like how you did that and how you got over this or you got better from it, because sometimes like it could still be a little bit in us, but how you got over like the unhealthy on your end side of it.
Looking at yourself as a small child, younger self. You are the person you wanted to be there for you, to tell you it's okay, you don't have to please people or keep the peace because you want their feelings or how they feel to be, good. You need to be okay because you are a human being as well. It's like sometimes you don't view yourself as humans. You forget you have emotions, you have feelings.
Exactly, you tire yourself out like a machine, like a robot. And I think people pleasers or former people pleasers, whatever you want to say, can spot other people pleasers from a mile away, and you want to tell them, please, like, slow down, like, you deserve love and care too. And some things are not deliberate, like, oh, this was calculated deliberately. Sometimes people subconsciously will do things and they don't even realize it. Like, sometimes it's not with intention to hurt people.
They're so passionate.
To be passionate with different topics on YouTube because I've seen the mistakes I made and I don't want people to make these same mistakes. I honestly feel the same way about E. Like, that's why I have him here. I don't have him here because of whatever he is to me. It's because of his opinions and his thoughts and the way he communicates with me even behind closed doors. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It would mean a lot if you guys could hit the buttons and interact with this video. And also, thanks to everybody who's joining our lives. We go live pretty often now, and I appreciate people who join, people who give super chats, people who engage, and people who keep it respectful. You're great. Thank you guys. Bye. Have a good week.
See y'all next time.